The third episode of The Mandalorian second season, Chapter 11, The Heiress, was a seafaring and stormtrooper zapping good time, with a fair amount of Easter eggs and callbacks tucked away for fans to find. Here are a few you may have missed. The Heiress brought Mando and his little green friend to the never-before-seen watery moon of Trask, completing their mission to deliver Frog Lady and her eggs back to her husband, credited here as Frogman. After a very bumpy landing and an assist from a crane machine that might just be a repurposed Imperial walker, we got a closer look at the residents of Trask. Both the Quarren and the Mon Calamari species joined the Star Wars universe in Return of the Jedi, although they appeared in very different places. The Quarren hung out with Jabba the Hutt, while the film introduced the Mon Calamari as key members of the rebellion during the Battle of Endor. The most famous among them is the legendary Admiral Akbar, who remained a part of the faction until he died in The Last Jedi. Additionally, a Season 4 arc from the Clone Wars put their conflict on the homeworld of Mon Cala front and center. Plus, Rogue One also bolstered the Mon Calamari standing in the rebellion's ranks with the introduction of Admiral Raddus. For both species, the Heiress isn't their first appearance in The Mandalorian. In the opening scene of the series premiere, a Quarren was seen being sliced in half by a door. Greef Karga also offered Mando a Mon Calamari bounty in Episode 3. Plus, in The Heiress, Mando finally uses the Mon Calamari money Karga gave him way back in the very first episode. After chartering a ship to go find more Mandalorians, Mando and the child are betrayed by their Quarren sea captain. Thankfully, they're rescued in short order from a new creature known as a Mamikor by a group of blue and gray-clad Mandalorians. We know from the Clone Wars that these are the Night Owls, led by fan-favorite Bo-Katan Kryze. Bo-Katan is played by Battlestar Galactica's Katie Sackhoff for the first time in live action, and she's the heiress from the title, a nod to her past as the ruler of Mandalore. Bo-Katan arrived in the Star Wars universe during the fourth season of the Clone Wars, with Sackhoff also voicing her, as Death Watch leader Pre Vizsla's right-hand woman. Pre Vizsla, by the way, was voiced by Mandalorian showrunner Jon Favreau. We know from the Season 1 finale of The Mandalorian that Mando was rescued by Death Watch members as a child. With Pre Vizsla's later demise at the hands of Darth Maul, Bo-Katan and a group of Mandalorians split off from the faction and formed the Mandalore Resistance, playing an integral role in the Siege of Mandalore during the Clone Wars Season 7. Following the fall of the Galactic Empire, Bo-Katan's exploits were shrouded in relative mystery as her story dropped off after a brief appearance in Rebels. However, it appears that The Mandalorian will rectify that, finally giving audiences the answers they desire about her whereabouts and motives in a post-Imperial world. In The Mandalorian Season 1 finale, Moff Gideon used an ancient Mandalorian Darksaber to cut through the wreckage of his downed TIE fighter to escape. Since that moment, viewers have wondered how exactly this top-ranking Imperial official wound up with the artifact. Before its re-emergence, however, Bo-Katan was the last person shown wielding it in Star Wars Rebels after fellow Mandalorian Sabine Wren handed it over to her. Any specifics detailing how she lost it, however, have yet to come to light.
There is something I need if I am to rule Mandalore, something that was once mine.
The Heiress went a long way in solving this mystery through a bit of key dialogue from Bo-Katan that hints to a previously untold Star Wars story. After she and her crew fight their way to the bridge of an Imperial shuttle, Bo-Katan interrogates the head officer, played by Titus Welliver, the third actor from HBO's Deadwood to appear this season, following Timothy Olyphant and W. Earl Brown. Bo-Katan doesn't get any information out of him before he takes his own life, but she does allude to some kind of shared history between herself and Gideon, asking the officer to take her to him without actually naming him. Hopefully, the show will expand more on how the weapon slipped from her hands into Gideon's at some point after her Rebels cameo. After successfully hijacking an Imperial Gozanti cruiser ship, a model first spotted in The Phantom Menace, Mando departs to continue his mission of delivering the child to its people, but not before asking his fellow Mandalorian where he can find the Jedi she claimed to know. Grateful for his aid, Bo-Katan tells him to travel to the city of Caladan on the forest planet of Corvus, a new location for the Star Wars universe. So who is this Jedi on Corvus? Another animated favorite, Ahsoka Tano. The debut of Anakin Skywalker's former Padawan in live action has been a long time coming, with speculation over Rosario Dawson's casting as Ahsoka running rampant for months. And the circumstances surrounding her imminent arrival couldn't be more satisfying for die-hard Star Wars fans.
You should have seen him in person. Anakin Skywalker. He was my master.
Having initially squared off his enemies, Bo-Katan and Ahsoka allied during the Siege of Mandalore, as detailed on Clone Wars' 7th season. Once the Jedi Order disbanded and Order 66 went into full effect, leading Ahsoka to go into hiding, the status of their coalition grew murky. But it seems that they retained some method of contact throughout the Galactic Civil War and in the midst of the Empire's collapse. Also, much like Bo-Katan, Ahsoka's adventures continued through Rebels, where she took up the codename Fulcrum and became a secret rebel operative. Her fate beyond the series finale was a mystery for a long time, but it's likely The Mandalorian's 12th chapter will finally fill in some of the long-standing blanks in her story. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about The Mandalorian are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.